And I'm going to put them in my little scrap jar. These are really about as small a piece as I'd want to put in here for reuse. I can use this to fill in pinholes and such, instead of having to break out a new sheet later on. And that leaves this ridiculous little mess here, all these little, really little pieces. So these, hang on a second, I need my garbage can. These are actually going to go in the bin. So next I'm going to take a large soft brush, kind of makeup style, just a cheap craft brush that I picked up, but it's got a nice big soft tip, and it's perfect for mopping, as it's called. Alright, and there we are. So this is the result of this morning's pass of the gold. The light will hit it differently, and sometimes in shadow the gold just completely lays flat. You never know it's there, but a random little reflected bit of sunlight will suddenly hit it and the thing will just absolutely glow. This is historically, I think, part of the charm with gold leaf is that it's not only beautiful, and not only is it very efficient as a metal because you can make a lot of leaf out of very little gold, but it helps to illuminate. It multiplies sunlight. A gilded chamber will absolutely light up completely beautifully, luminously, with just a little bit of sunlight. So you can almost see how people in the past would have held gold to such a magical, imbued it with such a magical status as what gold has traditionally had, far beyond currency, but where religious and superstitious elements are concerned. And invitation is still out there. If you've got a question, just go ahead and tap it into the chat room, and I'll try to answer. So, all right, mop off a bit more of the stuff, and we're going to start again. It's really repetitive, man. I mean, you're not going to find this to be the most entertaining of channels at any point. but it is what it is. At some point I'll be done with this, and I'll be working on the drawing for my next project, so that'll likely be a bit more interesting. But as slow as it is, I do enjoy gilding. I was just cleaning off my my brush here, the one that I used to push the gold in. It was getting a bit chunky. So, okay, so next up, we're going to work on this pass. I guess up to the acorn. If I'm feeling ambitious, I may go ahead and go in back over to the moth that's over here. The little moth is the counterpart to the spider that we find at the other end. And in between, you may also notice little numbers in the corner. We've got a 0, a 1, a 1, a 2. Those of you who are familiar with the Fibonacci sequence will probably recognize those quickly, but it often takes so long to draw one of these. I've got a lot of time to throw in little Easter eggs and such. Alright. So make sure the brush is clean, that the tip is still good. The adhesive that I use, it's surprisingly destructive where brushes are concerned. Even despite keeping it very clean, it's got this tendency to actually cause the tips to curve up kind of weirdly. They get like a little the equivalent of a little cowlick at the end of the brush, which kind of affects the accuracy. All right, let me get things readjusted, and we'll start the exciting process of the next run. If you've ever considered learning gold leaf, there's an outfit called Mona Lisa. I think they're out of Texas, or at least whatever the name of the company is. They produce gilding kits. It's artificial gold, not the highest grade stuff. Again, it's called Mona Lisa. You can pick it up in craft stores, and to their credit, they pretty much put together the entire kit. I mean, they give you an adhesive, they give you the leaf, and they also give you the sealant that you need to keep the artificial leaf from oxidizing. And it's, to their credit, it's acid-free. So it actually is considered an archival material for the most part, although it's certainly not a fine or precious metal. But it's a great way to learn. Relatively inexpensive. You don't have to shell out a few $100 for a stack of 23.5 or 24 karat gold leaf. And you can work out the ins and outs, and the color might not be the same, but still you can do some remarkably pretty work with it. And the most important thing is it's a cheaper material that you can practice your craft with. Right. Making sure I'm still in the camera view here. You might be able to see it right here. This little white spot inside the owl's ear, that's actually where a bit of the dried glue from the rim of the bottle, a little booger fell off, or got onto my hand and ended up getting on right there. So in this last application of gold, some of the dust got knocked over there, and it stuck immediately to it. So I was thinking earlier that I was going to get rid of the glue with a bit of scraping, light scraping, careful scraping, with an X-Acto blade. But now that the gold is on it, I think I'm just inclined to go back over it with a bit of ink. And actually, it isn't a spot where you would expect to see the curve of that little vine right there pass behind the ear. So it could be as though you're looking at some of it through the fine feathers of the ear. So I may just cover some and leave some in there, like it's showing through. Now, in a lot of these little leaves, you can see there's the central vein growing through the leaf. And while I try most of the time to get the adhesive to where it doesn't touch that vein, sometimes I do cover it. And that's easy enough to go back after the fact and just drop in a fresh line of ink on top of that. The reason I don't prefer to do that, even though it would be quicker just to fill in the leaf completely and go back with a spot of ink, is that the ink ends up sitting on the gold and looking a little bit different than the rest of the ink. And I think it just looks too different. All right. I've picked up, I've either got a loose hair in my brush, or I picked up a bit of dust, which is completely possible, but it kind of made this weird little right turn on the tip of the brush, and unless the end of the brush comes to a good point, that's just asking for trouble. All right, while the adhesive is pink, sometimes I get it on thin enough to where when it dries, it's actually white. It's a little difficult to, it's so thin that the paper shows through as white. So it's kind of difficult to tell where exactly I have or haven't applied the glue at times. One of the pups just walked back in the room. Probably wondering why I'm so abnormally quiet.